life in the city. It comes at you at 1,000 meters a second. According to a recent study, the average city dweller is subjected to over 60,000 forms of stimuli on any given day. That much information beamed into your brain, it's not surprising that some people can react a little differently. Desmond Flay, known as Des to his friends and family, was by all accounts a quiet and respectful young man, which made his actions on March 8, 2938 even more surprising. It was described as a joyride like no other. A high-speed chase in the skies that covered several hundred miles of dense urban airspace. Within an hour, he had thousands of adoring fans who watched the authorities scramble to catch him. But Des saved his best surprise for last. When captured, local police asked why he did it. Des reportedly took a look around, smiled, and said, "I just wanted some peace and quiet." See your local ship dealer for...
Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
It's just everybody. Like, there we go.
How's it going? We're actually here now after 4 commercials at 5 commercials. 4 commercials at 5.
We got rid of the moose and the bear and the gorilla
and the moose rider. Eris isn't here this week. So, how's everyone doing today? This week we have me. Well, you know me. I'm always around. We have Shiver. Well, you know Shiver. He's always around. We have Heremus, who does all of the work at Relay. Well, he does all of the video GIF stuff for Relay Station, and we love him. And thank you for being on, Heremus. And joining us for the first time is Vertigo HC. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Do appreciate it.
So, I think that's about it for the show. I think we should wrap it up.
All right.
All the best stuff has already been shown, and yeah. thanks for watching our 12-minute Relay Station.
Wonderful commercials.
Yeah.
Next week we'll bring you more commercials.
No, in all seriousness, I was actually, especially compared to the past couple weeks, there's actually quite a lot of stuff this week. And my volume is a little low apparently, so I will turn it up. There we go. That should be better. Let me know if I'm still too quiet. So this week we had pretty good Calling All Devs, very short ATV at 12 minutes, but it had the most adorable thing in the world. And then
Melissa was on it.
Yes, you missed her. And then, but probably most importantly this week, we got Chris Roberts on Around the Verse for over an hour, and
which was amazing.
Yeah, pretty great.
No sarcasm, no jokes. Having Chris Roberts on that Reverse the Verse was great. You actually get to hear from the man himself what's going on.
Long due.
Long overdue.
Was
Can
wonderful.
people not hear me?
Long overdue.
Was wonderful.
Pardon?
Not hear me? No.
Hold on.
Was wonderful.
Weird.
Pardon?
I can hear me
Hold on.
when I turn the audio from the stream on. I'll turn my audio way up. Maybe that'll help. I'll turn my audio way up. Maybe that'll help.
Did it help?
Can you hear me now?
Did it help?
Maybe just
you
the
hear me
output
now?
volume is fairly low for Discord. Maybe to the stream.
Can you hear me
Output
now?
volume is fairly low for Discord. Maybe to the stream.
All right. Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry about that, guys.
Apparently there's an echo as well.
Yeah, that was my fault. Okay.
Hashtag
so,
professional streamers.
Oh, not even slightly. I thought you knew our show.
Every time something goes wrong. Hashtag.
And now it's time for questions.
Now it's time for what?
Now it's time for questions from the audience.
Yep.
Yeah,
Questions from
right.
the audience.
No, we're not into that section yet. Actually, we have a fair. Let's go to show and tell. Actually, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. So we're gonna slide over here, and we have stuff from ATV to show off this week.
Oh yeah.
So, I love the Squadron 42 updates because we, get to see, got
Even
to
the
see
tiny ones?
We got to see the Onion Knight again, and the Mark Hamill. I love the 3D display in this room. I can't wait to sit there for mission briefings. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope they use that tag actually for some other stuff.
Oh, that's the render texture, the hologram stuff. You're going to see that a lot in Star Citizen, I would assume.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even in
Commercial.
RTV, Chris was waxing poetic about how he wants more of the UI to be 3D. So yeah, I think it's coming. So moving on from our first video here. Sorry, it takes me a moment to switch these. So there we go. So they're also changing the animations so that there's less canned animation when you move around, and more of it is like exactly what you are inputting to your character. So I thought that was a good change, especially for things like VR. If they still plan on eventually doing it, they need to really cut down on canned animation.
Well, VR movement, from my understanding, and I've done just from my understanding, in order, like, it's not a big problem with the majority of VR players. It is a problem though, which is simulation sickness, and you have to have a very movement type in VR games, especially first-person shooter kind of VR games, where there's a lot of little implement. My guess is CIG is developing Star Citizen to be a VR virtual reality game, but my guess is that a lot of the actual implementation of the VR tech is going to come. So, but it's going to be nice because removing these animations and kind of making them a little bit less clunky, I would say, is like right now when you try to move to a stop from a sprint, you're kind of like there's a kind of like this weird stuttering doing stuff. So I do appreciate that, just kind of removing, because even without the VR goggles, just with a computer monitor, there is some people do get simulation sickness just looking at a computer monitor.
Totally. And that's where the field of view slider is important in a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they will have to do massive changes to make it VR ready. The whole rendering, complete never. It's just.
One of the things that
is going to be heavy.
Oh, it's definitely going to be heavy. Yeah.
Is confusing, especially in an FPS situation in VR, is you're sitting with your mouse and moving with your keyboard, but because you're looking at everything with your actual eyes, you're kind of like, oh, that's where I want to. Oh shit! No, I need to. And getting that coordination going on for yourself is a nightmare.
And there's also an interesting debate to be have there: mouse and keyboard versus either like the Joy-Cons or the hand controllers aiming. Mouse and keyboard aim, the hand joysticks aim. That'd be interesting. Instead of you actually pointing the gun with your hand, mouse and keyboard. There's an interesting debate I'd like to
Pointing
see.
your ship?
There you go.
Oh, way back when there was like people were able to use injectors in Arena Commander, and that's all we had was Arena Commander. The best method of flight and control was a dual stick and with the VR goggles. I hope that sort of thing comes back, because people in VR are really going to benefit.
Oh, totally.
Tracking and whatnot technology is starting to catch up to head tracking technology, where you can just clip a little IR tracker or headphones, and you have like a camera up there. That's what FOIP is going to become, the face over IP. That's why I'm super excited. I don't care about the stupid deformation with the lips and the mouth, and then you can turn yourself into this H.R. Geiger monstrosity when you're talking to somebody. That's going to happen, by the way. That's going to be the best implementation of FOIP, is just opening your mouth and having your character just their jaw distends and just goes over the back of your head.
Yeah.
But the face tracking is what I'm really interested in, because because people complain. This is a legit complaint. Like if you get into the new Avenger, you can't, and you don't have any sort of head tracking. You can't even see your radar. All your MFDs are below your eye line. So just having basic head tracking built into Star Citizen with like a cheap webcam or something, and just being able to tip your head down just a little bit and just kind of check your radar real quick.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Totally.
I believe so too.
So also, this is we've been showing this for a minute or two. This is the idle poses. How they're basically automating the idle poses so that the character will recognize what situation he's in and play the correct idle pose without them having to individually assign idle poses to everything, which is good. Not super sexy change, but one of those things that I'm sure makes their lives easier.
Oh yeah.
And then onwards to procedural inverse kinematics, or looking at stuff in your hands.
Yeah.
Carrying with stuff. Yes.
Mhm.
Actually, I was complaining about this feature a long time ago, and they were telling me, like, I think Christian was in my stream chat when I mentioned it to him. It's like, Christian, we have these wonderful guns with skins on both sides of them. Why can't I look at my gun in my hands and flip it over idly like this and that? And the response from the developer was, "Don't ever become a lead program designer." It's like, and now we're doing this stuff.
Well, they had to eventually. It was always going to come eventually, I think, because
I'm
there's
surprised.
so many items
surprised-
in the game.
Yeah, I'm surprised on the minutia, like, of inspection. Like, he's holding the book up and he's flipping that over. I'm just like, I figured it'd just be like guns or just items you can actually hold in your hand, like
I think
can of cola.
I
Really?
think they really want. Well, I think it's this sort of the overall idea is that it can be anything, right? So you build a system and then it's any item you can be inspected.
It seems to me it works also together with this attachment system, which where you have, for example, weapons or other things, where you see the spots where you can attach something, or it seems to me that they even, if you have little puzzles or something in your hand that you can see, you can turn it around and maybe have attachment points there where you can play with. So it seems that seems the reason for this whole system.
Definitely. I think with the it'll really come in handy with the repair system, because you have to you have to open up your shield generator and repair the individual components inside.
Mhm.
I think that this will really help with that kind of action as well.
Yeah, and this kind of goes into like how deep is the virtual reality system? Because we can just keep going back to virtual reality. Like, if you have the hand joystick, the hand tracking, like, this allows you to do like amazing stuff with the animation system. If it's all procedurally inside the engine, like your suddenly your hand movements can just you can just grab onto something, and the game intuitively recognizes that you've grabbed onto that thing, and it doesn't like fidget around in your hand or anything. You just grab onto it. So it's very interesting technology.
You have hands, fast car. You don't have legs.
Jesus Christ.
This is another. This is another thing they've been trying to work on refining a lot of the animations, because a lot of them are pretty messy right now. In this particular instance, it was things like picking up and putting down boxes. Because I'm not sure if you guys have tried to do that in the PU recently, but it's a little janky.
I had one instance where my character moonwalked through a wall and then picked up the box, and then I was outside the outpost, and I'm just like, oh, whatever, just mission accomplished. The box, I'm outside and I have the box. Like,
we're good, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, moving along to the boom boom. Big boom boom.
Yeah. Boom boom. Cyan boom boom. I like cyan.
This thing looks nasty.
Cyan KS rocket launcher. X.
Yeah.
How much of that do you think is moving parts?
86%.
It opens and blossoms up
90%. I think most of that thing transforms and deforms.
Once we saw the other Xion tech, you remember with the whole thing that we saw, that I think it was
I think it was
a
some sort of
panel, and
internal-
it deployed out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
It was in the ship, and yeah, that panel deployed out in different panels and stuff. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of moving parts in that gun.
Well, you look at the other Xion ship we actually have in game, the Scout, the Cartoal, that thing just it unfolds like origami. Like, I suspect that this thing's gonna have a ton of moving parts in it.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I would love a Cyan repair mechanism where actually when you shoot a part away, from somewhere flies another part there, and thing that's down there.
It's like the Iron Man. It's like the Iron Man repair version.
Yeah. That would be so awesome.
That would be great.
But Cyan has a flying tech, so why not use it? So.
Exactly. And then we had something I did not expect at all and was very welcome. Procedural soft body deformation.
Yeah. Also, nice name.
Oh boy. This has been traditionally extremely difficult to do in games.
In fact, entire games have been built around the idea of
BeamNG.
Red Faction comes to mind very readily. Red Faction Guerrilla, Red Faction Guerrilla? No, Guerrilla Warfare or something. What was that one?
Guerrilla Warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, Guerrilla Warfare was instead of just the terrain, it was the buildings that they would deform and blow up and whatnot.
There's a game that exists like purely for the research and development of soft body physics for vehicles in games, and it's called BeamNG Drive. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. It's soft body physics and soft body deformation is really hard to do in games.
And taxing as well, traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
What I wonder about it is, what is the procedural part?
I think the part is that
simulation before, and
no, it's the trying to put it in terms that can be broadly understood. Of it's being made so it's not going to work with one specific panel in mind, like this one in the video right now, but it can be put on any part of any ship that's having to piss around and say it must go here and it must do this and it will look like this. Each time it's going to be different, and it doesn't matter where it is. That doesn't have to manually put it in.
That's the procedural part.
Yeah.
Okay, so can have that on every surface in the ship. It can go that kind of.
If they want.
Theoretically,
the other thing is it's not going to be that exact thing either.
One thing that they mention is that the reason they're doing it right now is for cinematics. So I think it might be a while before we see it in game, and we may only ever see it in like live during the game if they can make it not slow the game down ridiculously.
Yeah, from my understanding, this was only going to be used in cinema. The whole concept of procedural was the fact that they could pack and unpack the animation very quickly and efficiently. So this was only going to be used in very specific situations, probably for Squadron 42.
Probably, at least at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if they eventually try to work it in, if it is efficient enough. But soft body's really hard, so it wouldn't surprise me if we only see it in cinematics, or possibly just with capital ships, because they're still trying to figure out how to make it noticeable that you are actually doing damage to a capital ship. Because they're so huge.
What is the really tough part, actually, with that technology? Now, I'm curious. Where are the heavy lifts?
Oh, why is it so difficult?
Essentially, if it wasn't the way it would normally be done, let's say, is every single frame in the animation would have to be manually drawn, put in order, and work subsequently. Whereas this is just,
Imagine working for Disney. Imagine working for Disney and making a movie, an animated movie. Every frame of that movie has to be drawn by hand by somebody or a team of somebodies. And then that would how the animation would traditionally be done. Like you would have the walls deforming, you'd have somebody have to move every little pixel, every little vertices out of the way for every frame that you wanted to render. And then you would basically how they did it back in the day with like Half-Life is that they would just render the scene, and you'd have that one cut scene where you'd have this cool thing happen, but then the world would be very static as a result from this, because it would just be too taxing to do it in real time on your computer.
But basically, the procedural part of it and the thing that makes it difficult in terms of system resources is... so basically, they're saying if you threw anything at that wall, it would break apart in different ways because of this procedural deformation system. But the thing that makes it taxing on the physics part of the game is that you have to have really complex... See how complex the geometry is in that panel? It's not just a flat panel anymore. It's got all these, like... It's all bent and curved, and it's got all these sharp ridges. That's a lot of geometry, and you have to create it on the fly. That's not easy to do.
And it's not just the geometry you have to create. You have to do textures. You have to do... what's the thing for doing the bump mapping? The meshing work. All that stuff has to be updated on the fly if somebody's looking at it.
And if you're doing it this way,
and each one of those is a completely different object.
Exactly. Now, the other and to make it even more difficult in Star Citizen, you breach a hull panel like that, then you have decompression. So you have shit like flying out the hole, and it gets really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me it looks. If I look at this video, I just see some interpolation between splines.
Oh, what's that? Have you played Space Engineers?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know then that the system for portraying damage in that is extremely similar to the principle of this, but they are doing this. Yeah, it's what is it?
It's very clunky with Space Engineers. It's like you damage a block, the block changes form, and then the block is just deleted after a certain amount of damage. But now you have a hole in the ship. Very simplistic, but it works.
That does work.
And this is kind of the same way, except we're trying to maintain the geometry and deform it at the same time. And now you have an entrance or exit that you can climb through. I don't know how far this is going to go. Like I said, I think this is just going to be limited to very cinematic portions of Squadron 42. I don't think...
It's Chris Roberts.
I know, right? It's Chris Roberts. He can go any goddamn way with this. This literally could be, your Idris can be torn apart like Swiss cheese, like The Expanse.
Exactly.
And walk through it with helmet on now because the damn thing can't hold oxygen. It's literally a sieve or a screen door on a submarine kind of situation.
If you have to plug holes in your Idris because...
Yeah.
So,
because your pilot sucks.
I'm just looking forward to the mechanic who's going to have to come in, look and go, nah, I can see what your problem is. You've got a hole in your ship. You don't want that.
Oh man! All right, so moving on to Scrapyard Wars. This actually looked really cool. I was a big fan of this trash biome stuff.
I know. How do you make trash look sexy?
It looks so good. Look at that.
With really, really little stuff, they make a really good scrapyard. Yeah.
Like I need a tetanus shot just looking at this stuff.
I know.
Honestly.
That looks amazing. I can't wait to explore Hurston. It's going to be gigantic.
Although I can just eyeballing it, I can recognize quite a few Drake parts in that pile of scrap. I wonder. Drake into the trash it goes.
I'm really hoping that someone's going to join me and to recreate a couple of scenes from the Transformers movie on that planet, because that'd be great. We'll get Weird Al playing in the background. Perfect.
You got the touch. You got the power.
See, we didn't even need it.
Breaking loose.
We didn't even need Eris to have singing. It's perfect.
I know.
Speaking of Eris, he has just messaged me from the hospital bed where the gorilla put him, and he says hello to everyone.
Okay.
He didn't message me? How rude. So then, next up, we had the Vanduul.
Ooh, the wonderful Vanduul. They look much more civilized in this
They're
picture.
coming along a lot recently. They've made a lot of big improvements to the Vanduul. My favorite part of this, I absolutely loved, was they were showing the Vanduul knife. If you look at the blade of it, it's a UEE blade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
I love the Jaffa staff weapons they gave the Vanduul. It's going to have that cool, when they're pointing at you and they click it, you have that cool sound effect from Stargate. Oh, yeah.
I just love how they, because they have, they were talking about how, sorry, go ahead, Heremus. No, go ahead.
When I saw the energy lens, I saw Jaffa Cray tuna roll. It was, for me, like a little Neptune Stargate. So, yeah.
I look at those and I just think Space Nazgul. Space Ringwraiths.
Kind of, yeah. What I just love that they're working that in how Vanduul like steal a lot of their tech and they steal a lot of stuff from other races, and then they have the UEE blade on the knife. I thought that was so cool.
It kind of saves time as well because they don't have to do something completely from scratch as well. They can how can I alien this up a bit?
Well, they had that on the on when they showed off the blade on a couple ATVs ago. They said that you actually looked at it, some of the weapons for the Vanduul when they did that new update. They actually showed off, like you can actually see some like the Bearing M series laser cannons like used in the making of the new blade weapons. for the Vandal blade the ship. So they said like, oh, the Vandal are they're a race of scrap, aliens. They like assembling stuff out of other stuff. So I suspect, and this is since we're doing an MMO and we need loot pigs, I suspect people will have a legit reason to hunt down Vandal ships because they potentially could have very high level gear inside them or components inside them. And there's a reason to try to capture Vandal ships intact, maybe not with the occupants alive, but intact, so you can actually pick through and get like an orange or purple level power plant or something.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, if they're collecting all sorts of alien stuff, then they could have some pretty great equipment. All right, so go ahead.
I think when they showed the different blade or Vandal ship variants, they said that the Vandal have their own technology where they actually took other things and compile it to their own technology with some kind of weirdo magic. So interesting to see or hear more about that actually.
Yeah, definitely. I love this scene. Made me want to venture more.
Is that from Eve?
No.
Is that a screenshot from Eve? No. Eve doesn't have.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm really sorry.
Oh,
Who cares
man.
anyway?
I honestly
wonder who
just
shipped.
make me a goddamn space game, Chris Roberts. I don't care. Like, let the CCP can get their lawyers out if they want to take it that far.
Sorry,
Like,
I just had this vision of like flying around the verse in Serenity, and then there goes the Enterprise D, and then here comes the
X-Wings
Death
and TIE
Star.
fighters.
Yeah, there comes the
Yeah.
Death Star, and
Imperial 2 Star Destroyer.
All right.
People want their what is it from Homeworld of Nehkara or something ship.
The Carcelim. That's from the very first one. Oh god, the Carcelim. Oh shit, that was from the first Homeworld. Tell me what was in.
Pride of
Everybody.
Hagara.
There you go.
Yeah. Bam,
Done.
Pride of Higara. Yeah. I want the Pride of Higara, definitely. But I think some Xi'an ship is there, maybe, which is some kind of way.
And CIG does pay homage and almost rip off like other intellectual properties. Like if you look at the P8, not the custodian SMG, the very top of it is very reminiscent of the assault rifle from Halo. The Caterpillar is actually designed to be kind of like an homage to the Millennium Falcon. It's a cargo ship with an offset cockpit. And they pretty much admitted that.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. There.
Hello, doors!
The doors came back.
It took me a day to make them, but I will speed up.
There you go.
But the other thing I wanted to mention, Fast Cart, it is the Venture Vulture, or the VV. Other thing I wanted to mention is it was they had an adorable ending to ATV this week with Robert's daughters.
Definitely
that was
Sandy.
really funny.
Little small Sandy.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Oh man, so that was pretty cool. So people watching us for whatever reason, please ask us questions. We need. Is the bot working? Is bot not working? Oh, hey, there we go. There goes the many
No,
links to the
that's
farm.
Ghost. That's not a bot.
No, I know it wasn't the bot. I was just saying many links to the forum. All right, let's see what questions we have. Let's see if there's any left over from last week.
Captain PNS got in there pretty quick this week. Love that name.
Captain Penis? Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Wow, we have way too many questions in here. We gotta clean this out. It's like 1,500 lines long now. All right. First question. If you suddenly turned into Chris Roberts for some reason, what, if anything, would you change about the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42? From Captain Penis. Shiver.
I wouldn't be as polite and as kind, and I just tell people, just calm the fuck down. It's going to be ready at some point. We've been showing you what it is. Calm your tits. But no, they're quite polite about it, and they say, "Oh, we've had a little bit of a delay here," and they're far more professional than me.
Heremus, what do you think?
What was the question?
The question was
42 schedule?
no. The question was, if you suddenly turned into Chris Roberts for some reason, what, if anything, would you change in the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42?
I would make the company like Wikipedia and say you are all in for free. I have no idea actually. I would.
Melissa
I think
Estrada
they do
stream
a lot-
24/7. Melissa Estrada.
Yeah, I can do this for you, buddy. But I think it's pretty good how it runs. So I don't have much to complain. So next.
Vertigo.
Pick me.
Vertigo.
Me. I would delete man turrets from the game entirely. They're pointless. Like the Hurricane, we tried to make the Hurricane work last stream. It's even in like free flight.
There has to be a way to make them. There has to be a way to make them work.
Yeah, it's called shoving
Chris
AI
said-
in there.
Chris said they are going to do it even better in the future.
Oh, we're gonna be better because like this was the patch that had improved man turrets on it. They're functional, but they're not effective. Like it made me. They effectively make me motion sick inside them, and I'm trying to use them in combat. You know, I want to watch watch your helmet fill up with vomit.
Is that called turret syndrome?
Turret syndrome, probably.
Oh wow, that's terrible.
But yeah,
All
like
right.
man turrets are just they don't work right now. But if you put an AI in there, they can unerringly hit me. Like the most dangerous thing in the verse right now is like a Constellation Andromeda or Constellation Andromeda.
Oh man.
Really make you feel the pain.
So, my answer to this question is I'd put space whales in the game.
There you go.
Good one.
Shiver, you seem distracted. Is something up? From Fastcart.
Will be after the stream.
Oh, good. Moving right along. How do you think they'll balance mining versus salvage? Since mining, you'll be collecting some valuable materials and a lot of inert matter, while in salvage, everything you'll be salvaging will be something valuable since it had already been used to build a ship. It's not like you can accidentally collect too much vacuum while salvaging. This is from... Holy shit, I actually have a question for today. Wow.
Everything is fucking long in this question.
Yeah, so basically, how do you think they're going to balance mining versus salvage, since salvage will always be getting high-value materials, whereas mining, you're going to get a lot of rock?
Salvage is fine. Salvage by nature is slightly more dangerous because it's almost always going to be done in space, and people are going to know they're there. So someone like me would be, I'm not interested in salvaging, but I'm interested in shooting you. Mm-hmm. So I'll just wait for someone to do all the work, shoot the bastard, take his stuff, sell all of his hard work, and the salvage.
My guess is that, like, base scrap metal won't be worth very much, and that's mostly what you'll get. I think that's probably the biggest balance. And maybe they have some use for inert rock where they, like, build structures out of it on some planets or something. So it's
concrete,
actually
essentially.
Yeah. That's
like
that's my biggest guess, is that they'll just balance inert rock versus scrap metal, and then the rest will work itself out.
In the end, they can just say we make it equal. You get with one load is salvage, one load of salvage big ship. You get the same result with one big load of mining.
You can tweak it a little bit too, though. To as you mentioned, you can tweak it a bit too, so that if you're salvaging, maybe you have a higher likelihood of being attacked by pirates or anything like that.
Well, keep in mind that salvaging both salvaging and mining can be done in space on planets.
Mm-hmm.
Asteroid mining will be a thing eventually, and wrecks, and eventually you will be shooting people down on planets. So you will find crashed or wrecked ships. The big draw for salvaging, unless you have a reclaimer or a very big ship to salvage, the biggest draw for would be ship components. We have already seen large weapons right now. The size 6, size 5 weapons are already in the hundreds of thousands of UEC right now. So if you can get like an M8A, that's like 100,000 credits right there, if you can sell that.
Well, they probably won't give you, if it's salvage, you probably won't give you much for it, but like
Yeah, it'll probably be
like 20% or something maybe.
But if you can mount it on a ship, one of your own ships, or you can sell it to another, like, hey, I have this M8A to mount onto your, which is a size, I don't even know what a size 6 can go on right now, but you can mount it on your capital ship, and I'll sell it to you for 50% of the store price, or maybe I'll sell it to you for 150% because you can't get one of those for the next 3 systems.
Exactly.
I have supply and demand. Like, that could be the draw of salvaging right there. But mining, I suspect, will be more consistent. You can scout, you can find the rocks with a certain percentage, you can mine out what you need. But the threat level still, I think, is going to be the same. Spec salvaging will probably be more dangerous because you may have more complete components inside your ship. Therefore, pirates will probably be looking for a pirate instead of pirating mining ships, because mining ships is going to have to be refined, or you have to have a refinery inside you, and you're going to have a lot of material. Like an Orion, like trying to pirate an Orion, where are you going to keep it all? You're probably just going to make them pay a toll to pass you. Pay me this, or I'm going to disable your engine and leave you and vent your entire crew. That's probably what you're going to do to an Orion. With a vulture or a reclaimer, stop the ship, we're going to board you, we're going to pick through your hold, and we're going to take whatever we want.
I wouldn't want to attack an Orion. It's got a giant, like, mouth at the front of it that eats asteroids. Like, come on! You're just going to end up getting chewed up by the freaking thing.
I was dreaming today about Prospector, how mining might work on a lava planet. If you go down on the lava planet and you have really fluent metal or stone there, and your ship just shifts around, or it has to shift around because eruptions and turbulences and all. I was a little bit cocked up in this dream, I have to say.
That would be really cool, actually.
I can't wait to see how mining on other planets, like even gas mining, you know, taking your, because they said they're going to have different grades of fuel. You know, take your Starfarer down into a gas giant and just start scanning around for a nice pocket of like some unobtainium gas that, you know, is over, that the racers really want to have, that is super expensive. And like, oh, we found it.
And then we can recreate several different Star Trek episodes where you get stuck in the atmosphere of the gas giant and have to call for help.
Yep.
Next in space.
Next question is, will we get OCS and bind culling in the next patch? From Yeeting for Jesus.
Ooh, there's a sticky question.
I'm gonna say absolutely yes, because they can't put the patch out without it.
I'm gonna say maybe
Object
because
container streaming.
Object container streaming. I'm gonna say maybe because they could put the patch out without it.
They would have to take...
They could do it, but pitchforks and torches would get handed out in the forums.
They would have to take all of the new moons and Hurston out, all the new space stations out, and object container streaming and network bind culling out. So the patch would just be salvage and the new ships.
Gameplay elements around Crusader Beast. And I suspect, like, if they're pushing a lot of their engineers into OCS to get that to work, or to support that kind of stuff, they may end up pushing a few of those gameplay loops, because I know we got salvaging, refueling, and repair, I believe, is on the docket for 3.3. I do not suspect all 3 of those professions to actually end up in 3.3. I at minimum, I expect one to be supported.
Chris was very clear about this, that I was actually glad he was so direct about it. He's basically said object container streaming will be prioritized above everything else in that patch.
He said prioritized, not guaranteed. And they've said this shit to Chris Roberts himself has said this. One of the best proprietors of FUD, Fear, Uncertainty, and Doubt in Star Citizen is the developer, is CIG. Chris Roberts has said, we will show off Squadron 42 at the end of this year. Oh, I'm sorry, we weren't able to get it. Here's this nice apology ATV around the verse to show you why we're delayed. Oh, we're going to have 3.0 out at this time. Oh, it slipped 6 months. Sorry, everybody. here's this nice little apology. Like, I just, when Chris Roberts says something, I just can't quite bring myself to believe him for some reason.
For some reason,
it is healthy to have that sort of skepticism, to be honest, because it, you know, if it does slip, you know, who cares?
But I definitely think this is a major thing which they really want to accomplish because so much hangs on it.
3.3 would be. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Heremus.
Deliver the places. They want to deliver the places, Hearst, and so on, and the 4 moons, and
3.3 would be basically gutted without it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check right now on the development schedule, see what 3.3 would be without.
Without OCS and bind
I think
OCS,
it's worth iterating though, because it's going to be the first time, if it is put in, it's going to be the first iteration. It's not going to let you play at 120 megahertz on your 120 FPS or, you know, 20. Oh fuck me, 120 FPS on your 120 megahertz monitor. It's gonna, you know, just don't expect the miracle of full FPS when just expect a much larger play area.
Right now, it seems like their biggest reason for doing it is just to be able to expand the universe again, because they couldn't fit anything else in memory.
Yeah, they're right now they're backward. What 262? Sorry, 26. The 26 branch 263. That was the biggest they could get the universe at that time. The persistent universe. That was the biggest they could with the network code they had. And then, of course, we got with 3.3. We actually expand. Everybody forgets about that. 3.3 was terrible to play, but it did expand the play areas quite significantly beyond what we had.
3.3?
3.0, sorry.
3.0, yeah.
3.0
No, it did.
Expanded everything considerably.
Yeah. Oh, well, hugely, because you could land on the moons. Like that was it was massive.
And so the next big jump, and in my opinion, the next big step towards the MMO that is Star Citizen, the thing I pledged money for all those years ago, back in 2013, is going to be encompassed in OCS and network bind calling. Like that is going to give us the potential thousands of players inside Stanton or around Crusader.
Well, kind of. It's more about the places than the people. They need. Aaron Roberts actually did an interview this week as well. I don't think a lot of people saw it though. It was on like VentureBeat, I think, is where it was, and he was saying that their big thing for getting lots of players is the server meshing, which is coming in next year, and that will allow them to do basically as many players as they want. They just need more servers.
Well, I don't think the server player limited, because we've seen other developers plan side 2 try for as many players as possible, and there's technological limitations, actual limitations with bandwidth and latency if you want a good gameplay experience. Even EVE Online, who does literal thousands of players and ships within a play space, even they have to start throttling the clock cycle of the actual server in order. It has to slow everything down just to keep up with all the data. So
totally. But server meshing is basically gets around all of that by just having more servers, and they are all connected together. They control different parts of the play space. So
talking about is like having 10,000 people at All-Star on A00. Like, that's not that's not happening.
No, it's not. That would be horrible.
One solid server meld.
Yeah. You could probably have 10,000 people in Stanton separated through several server clusters, and then spool up additional or spool down servers depending on the load of if you have 3 people over at Yella and then 1,600 people around Hurston, like you only need to have a tiny portion of your server, like maybe one server handle Yella while you have maybe 26 servers handling like this small little area around Hurston, because that's where all the players are.
Exactly. You can have a server that's just handling one room in a bar. Yeah. If there's enough people in it.
I actually hope that there is one server which can handle different locations, because to be honest, when you have such a big universe and you have one person here and another person here, do I need 2 servers for that?
No, you'll be able to with server meshing, object container streaming, network bind culling. You can actually have like multiple star systems covered under one server because you only need to serve
if
the
you only
data
if
that
you
the
only had
players
a
can
couple,
see.
yeah, if you only had
Yeah.
a couple of players, like if you had like 3 systems where there's only like 1 player in each system, you could probably cover all 3 with 1 server. In all likelihood.
That I hope. Otherwise, we have a problem. Because-
Well, it's not our problem to solve.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the new proposed ATV format where they're going to break out all of the different parts of the show into separate videos?
Good thing first, they hire new staff to help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm still a little bit skeptic because in it me like they will aim at certain groups. Maybe I repeat myself, but and make more. I'm a little bit skeptic because I like the latest ATVs, even though the latest are a little bit low level, but I like dense information, and I'm a subscriber and I pay for dense information. Not everything is for me. Not every show is for me. Definitely, I don't look at lore because I want to play the lore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, skeptic.
I just want to say, Vertigo, I love your background.
You like that? That's my people say it's my blinky. No, it's actually a shirt. That's one of my shirts I wear on screen. I just needed a background image because my green screen is just so non-standard. Every time on a podcast, none of the presenters can figure out what damn color so they can have their image imposed in it. I set up a virtual webcam in my broadcasting software, and I was like, oh shit, I need a background now. What do I have that's easily accessible and ready? And it was that image. It was just like, it was perfect. Like,
that's awesome.
Whatever.
Should manned turrets have aim assist?
Yes.
Yes. Because normal ships have also aim assist.
ESP, yeah, enhanced stick precision. Like, it's just the manned turrets on the small nimble craft is just a whole can of worms by itself. Like the Hurricane, we tried. This is the Hurricane patch, everybody. They improved the manned turrets gameplay, right? We tried in a single player instance, a free flight with only like 12 people in it, where the network code really wasn't holding us back too much. And we really tried to make the Hurricane work. It basically comes down to the Hurricane really has no purpose because a lot of ships can do what the Hurricane does against larger ships just as easily. Like a Saber, the Hurricane has a lot of firepower in that turret, but a Saber works just as well. Like if you have the right loadout on the Saber. And it's just the controls on the Hurricane are just vomit-inducing. Like the mouse turret, when you suddenly pitch or yaw, the pilot pitches or yaws, and then you're not ready for it. If you're aiming over here and the pilot decides to aim somewhere else, it's just very disorienting. Unless they tell you what they're doing exactly. It's just, I don't know. On larger ships, it's fine.
I think I would prefer it if it was like an optional software upgrade you could add to a turret. Mm-hmm. Like if I found turrets particularly troublesome, I can put in this aim assist module V1 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if I don't want that and I want to, I really want to slug it out, I should be able to swap that out for, I don't know,
some
an overcharged thing. Yeah, so some different modules instead, so I can swap it around. But I mean, I don't think you need the closest comparisons I suppose that I've played are things like being a turret in Battlefield, and you don't need an aim assist in there, but it is a very different situation, I suppose. And the turrets actually work in Battlefield, I have to add.
And everybody starts. You start talking about other games that have done turrets better, like Battlefield, even like Battlefield 1942. Those turrets you'd either have unlocked look, which would mean you could turn as fast as you can look anywhere you want in space, as fast as you want, but the turret would lag behind you. And they do that in World of War tanks, where you can look around as fast as you want. You can spin, do a 360 in one frame if you wanted to. If your mouse sensitivity was that high, you can spin your view around 360 degrees in one frame, which is ridiculously fast. But your turret would have its own movement value, that you would have to wait for the turret to move.
Yeah.
To aim at what you finally stopped looking at. And World of Warships does that. And I would actually prefer that system because it would be less motion sickness inducing. Basically, you're just looking at the wall because your pilot did some crazy maneuver and suddenly you're just looking at the inside of your turret, and it's just like, and you're waiting for your turret to come back around to aim at what you're shooting at. But yeah, like just man turrets in space combat just doesn't work because of the flight model we have. It's just the flight model is just too quick. It's too much strafing in 6 degrees of freedom. Like, and with it comes down to, as I explained it on my podcast. You have to forgive me. I get really excited about this topic because it just grinds my gears. Like, I hated man turrets in all the Wing Commander games, and it's in Star Citizen now, and it's just like, why did we do this? But the big problem comes from the right-hand, left-hand scenario. When I'm in the cockpit of my spaceship, mouse and keyboard, or joystick and keyboard, or dual joysticks, I can get my left hand to compensate for what my right hand is doing because it's my brain. When I'm in a hurricane, there's another brain flying the ship, and there's me gunning the turret. Trying to get those two to work in harmony requires a lot of training, a lot of effort on that specific task and communication. There's this massive difficulty spike with the hurricane, trying to get those two elements to work in harmony together. And you can easily bypass that difficulty curve just by having 2 spaceships. You just suddenly just have 2 Sabers or 2 Super Hornets or 2 Hornets or 2 Eclipses, and suddenly you don't have to worry about that anymore. You just teach the people to fly the damn spaceships because it's a spaceship game. No problem.
But this is the original intent. This disconnect between each other. They want a teamwork ship with just gunship. So that's the intent, more or less.
They just, I think it'll just be more and more iteration on.
Yeah, we definitely need to see more iteration on the man turrets. CIG said they want man turrets to be fun first, player man turrets to be fun first before they can nation. Well, I swear to God, if you go up against an AI Starfarer in the persistent universe right now, those turrets will kick your butt. They will. If you they will, they hit really good. It's like, why can't I have turrets that work that good on my ships? So we'll see. We need more iterations. We need to see how the potential for solving. There's a lot of good ideas floating around out there, but there's some fundamental right now that just you have to get over in order to make them useful.
First, second, third iteration. It will get better. I believe.
So there's a question. Next question's from Bam Chow. Points out the new I think it's a new package, the Entrepreneur Pack, which offers the Prospector, Vulcan, Vulture, Hull B, and the Ursa Rover. So it's like all workships, basically. And it has LTI and has Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So it's like a game package. Yeah. Basically, his question is, what package combo would you be interested in seeing? Not necessarily to get for your own, but to be offered by CIG.
I would like to see like a sampler package or a something like a really low level starter package combination, similar to the Drake Loot and Scoot package, but for like starter ships, like a Mustang and an Aurora in there at the same time. Maybe like Dragonfly, a Mustang Aurora, or maybe like a Dragonfly with like an Avenger or something like that. You know, something really low end for some of the that has kind of some of the more interesting, like a smattering of the initial gameplay elements for you.
I just when you said sampler, I was thinking to like some other sampler packs I've seen. It's always like really tiny things. So I was envisioning like 40 ships, but they're like the RC versions. They're like this big. You just fly them around in your hangar.
they already have the little ship models.
Exactly.
You can get inside the hangars. So why can't we just make remote controlled versions? Exactly. Fly around a little M50 drone inside your hangar.
They actually said they're thinking of doing that, so I hope they do it eventually. Because they do already have the little models. Woohoo! 3.2 is live.
Thank you, Red Dawn.
Thank you, Red Dawn.
Pardon my atrocious writing.
That's awesome.
So Oh, sorry guys, I have to go.
You can hang on for another 20 minutes. Come on, man. So
I start the RSE launcher downloader now.
So we'll see you on YouTube.
Heremus, what game package would you think they should build?
Not interested in ships.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Shiver?
I've kind of already got something that I like, which is basically just combat ships. I mean, most of the ships at the moment are pretty much combat, so I haven't got much to contribute on that one, I'm afraid.
I would like kind of a... Like, this is just one combination I've always thought of in the verse because it'll work so well together. But selling a combo pack of the Prospector and the Hull B, because they're designed to work together. Those big the bags for the mining material on the Prospector fit in the cargo things for the Hull B. So you could work as a team running. You know, the Hull B could run all your stuff to a station and then or to a refinery while you continued mining. So I'd love to see that pack come out.
Yeah. Love to see like a Prospector with like a Cutlass Black or a Vulture with a Cutlass Black.
For defense, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I believe you can load the stuff into the Cutlass, can't you? The
yes, you can.
I think the scrap.
So I'm not sure if those scrap bags fit through the door. I think so, though.
I mean, you could fit a Cyclone through the doors.
Good point.
The problem with me is I'm not the richest person, so I don't spend money on ships anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a subscriber because I want the information, because that's what I really enjoy somehow. I'm a weirdo, I know, but I have to say, sometimes I wish back the old, what is this, when we reach 50 million stretch goals. So
no,
I would love stretch goals all on exploration. You know, that's my thing. I would love a bunch of stretch goals only for alien culture, treasure hunting, all that stuff. Looking for new worlds.
Well, I think that's already all in the games, or are supposed to be in the games. So
yeah, but more and more and more and more. Make it endlessly.
More.
So many options for exploration, so that you actually. I'm not very interested, nor am I interested in shooting. Sorry, I want to explore. That's what I want. So I want to see how the cultures are structured, how they behave, and I want to fly to that planet and see another biome or something like that.
I want to give CIG props really quickly though. I've been playing this PTU and it's really good. Mining is. I was always a little worried they weren't going to be able to carry off the complexity in the careers that they wanted. And I mean, this is tier 0 of mining, their first implementation, and it's significantly better than almost any other game I've ever played in terms of its actual complexity of the task.
I agree. I sat down and I started going to laser at stuff, and it was just like, hey, this is. I mean, it's not gonna appeal to everybody. I consider it kind of like the Civ syndrome. I don't know if everyone's played Civilization, and you get that one more turn syndrome. Where it's like, I just gotta, one more rock, one more turn. I just want to bust up. Actually, when I first started doing mining, there's actually like a little pang of regret inside me. That was like, oh, I have to go back to Olisar now. I can't. There's no reason to bust up this other rock over here. There's like this weird, like you get this nice little fanfare, like when the rock blows up, and then you start sucking stuff up, and you just kind of think about your profits as you're starting to suck stuff up. It's like, ooh, this is going to be worth this much UEC, and then even just going around, just prospecting, looking at rocks, trying to find, maybe I can find one with 0.5% more diamond in it over there. Or maybe I could find some laranite over there. It's just the constant wondering, and then you find the rock you want, and you start busting up, and you start, oh, how much money am I going to make? And then when the rock, this nice little cool little explosion. I think they've done a really good job with all the feedback and whatnot, the sound effects, the visuals.
Definitely.
And
The visuals are amazing. I love when, like, right before the rock's about to break, you can actually see the insides of the rock turn molten and it starts glowing. It's awesome. So, question, do you think Foundry... Okay. Do you think Squadron 42 will allow choices in ships for missions? Circumstances permitting, of course. So basically, do you think you'll be able to choose your ship for missions within reason?
Yes, they said already that, didn't they? Squadron 42 ship per mission. Which ship do I want to fly? Do I want to go silent and take the Hornet Ghost? Or do I want to get full blown and take the other side of the Hornet?
Yeah, I think it'll really depend. I do think they will allow choices for most of the missions. I think there'll probably be specific missions where they're like, hey, you just started, you're flying the Gladius. And that's all you're allowed to fly.
If you look at some of the later Wing Commander games, like 3 and 4, some of the missions there were like, you had bombers who were going off on a run, and they had fighters escort them. You could choose to be the escort, or you could choose to be in the bomber. I can see that sort of thing happening in Squadron for certain. Probably.
It looks to me also that you have to make degrees in every ship you want to fly. So you have to come to a certain point and show your skills in the ship to be able to fly it.
Well, we've been going through the old Wing Commander missions because, like, it's always a good idea to go back and show everybody, like, Chris Roberts, here's how he thinks, here's how he designs his games. In the first iteration of the Wing Commander games, you were stuck in the ship you were given for a specific mission. In the later Wing Commander games, Wing Commander 3 and 4, I believe, is when they started it. You can actually choose your ship. The problem with being able to choose the ship you fly is that you have to design the mission to be open-ended enough to allow varying ships to actually be able to complete the mission. And also not just that, but also varying skill levels inside those ships. You could very possibly, in Wing Commander 4, it was possibly to make the mission even more difficult for yourself if you choose the wrong loadout and you make a few wrong choices inside the carrier. If you piss off certain pilots using the morale system, they suddenly, your wingmans aren't exactly as effective as they used to be, and you've chosen the wrong loadouts, and you're flying the wrong ship, and wow, this mission's really busted my balls. It's possible to do that. So I think Chris Roberts has kind of learned from his past gaming experience, and he probably will allow you to adjust your loadout and maybe your ship. I suspect you will be able to choose. I think you'll only be able to choose the ship classes that will be appropriate for that mission. You can't take a bomber on a mission you'll need a fighter for. You can't take a bomber in a fighter escort mission that you're supposed to be escorting the bombers. Go ahead.
I don't think he wants to make it too easy either. I think sometimes he wants to make it suck for you because you choose the wrong loadout. He kind of guy, Demon Souls or whatever, where he wants the player to make the wrong choice and to stick to it and relive the consequences of this choice.
Yeah. And keep in mind that the Squadron 42 missions, they showed off a portion of that developer's vertical slice. That was a portion of the mission. When they ended that, you were still there was probably still another half of that mission left when they ended that. So if you make the wrong choice, like you may end up just having to go back to the carrier and just redo all your selections to get past a certain very difficult spot.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
but also it missed a lot of user interface, and the whole thing, the whole demo, was without user interface at all. I had nearly the feeling. So I hope there comes a lot of visual aid because, as you said, this mission can be fucking tricky if you do it just on your own. So.
Next question's from Fastcart, so it's a Fastcart question.
Okay.
If salvaging is like recycling, will we have to sort aluminums and plastics?
I suspect you will. You will have to sort stuff as you. I'm dead serious here. I suspect you will have to, because the ship hull components will be made up of several different materials, and you probably will have to sort those materials. Although it probably won't be plastic. It'll probably like some sort of composite material.
That would be pretty funny though. I think it'd be good.
I would literally I would try to get new players. I would go to the new player starting area, and I would recruit new players to help me sort the recycling inside the back of my reclaimer. Okay, everybody, plastic needs to go over here. And if you do a good job, I'll let you fly a spaceship eventually. Yeah.
All right.
And it would be their Aurora MR they'd be recycling, by the way. And if you do a good job, we'll get you a new ship, and you get to get out of here.
Oh, I love it.
You take the ship papers.
Aluminum comes here.
So, what day do you think 3.2 will go live?
Today. Now.
Tuesday, maybe? I don't know.
I'm thinking a few minutes ago.
The indication were the very commercials that were really the whole. Now it's going to come.
So, Eris masquerading as Fastcart asks, if you run out of questions, who will sing? And
I'll sing. You want to hear me sing a song?
Go.
I got a song for you.
Oh,
so the duck
I'll get a
walks
guitar
up
if you want.
to a lemonade stand. He says to the man running the stand, "Hey, got any grapes? Bump, bump, bump." And the man said to the duck, "We just sell lemonade. Fuck off." There's the song. Next question. Like that's literally a 5-minute song, but I can condense it down. Sorry about that. Don't mean to hit the mic. I can condense that song down into 5 minutes by telling the duck to fuck off.
Perfect.
Yes, Jem knows. Jem knows in the stream chat. Waddle waddle.
Serious question: were any of you tempted by the new packages that came out from Fastcart? I wasn't really. I'm pretty much over buying ships, but Shiver had a good nod over there. Yeah.
I think it was like $6,000, and I'm like, well, if I melt a few of my things, I'll have money left over, and I can still get that package. And then I realized I've spent far too much money.
Totally. This is a good question from Bam Chow. What are your thoughts on Mr. Pritchett leaving IFCS lead? He basically they wanted to bring IFCS in house. They wanted him to move to either the UK studio or the LA studio, and he couldn't. So, what do you think? Think it'll have a big impact on the game, or do you think that they'll be able to fill in the holes?
Yes, both.
Yes to both. Like, I think they'll be fine. There was a reason. I was wondering why they were pushing the Gravlev stuff so hard in the last couple of patches, and it was just like, okay, I guess he was.
There you go.
He already given them notice. Maybe he already given notice ahead of time. So my guess is the reason why they are moving in house is because like they knew he wasn't gonna say yes to that. So they started like, okay, finish up what you're doing, and we'll move. You'll be training the team that's gonna be taking your pick up your work. I don't think, and that's kind of the thing. Like in business, you don't want to hire somebody who is so key to your business that if they were to leave, like that, there goes your business with them. So I don't think him leaving is going to have a massive impact on Star Citizen. It may slow down the development of IFCS, but I still think that there, maybe a couple more patches or something. If he was really a great guy, it may slow us down a little bit, but I think we'll still be able to make the changes we need to get stuff working properly without him.
Yeah, I think
probably made like a massive physics manual for the team or the guy taking over for him that the guy's not going to read and go, shit.
He did say that, he said it was all in good hands, that they had a good team already, so I think it'll probably be fine.
To be fair, everybody says that when they're leaving.
But,
they're great guys, but you were a recommendation.
At the same time, he was the head of the team, so there's always going to be some adjustment there. There'll always be those moments where you're like, oh, we should just ask John. Oh, never mind. So the last question is apparently from me. Nehkara asks, will I be able to install a Tesla solar roof on my outpost in Star Citizen? Yes. I don't know.
I thought, what about, wasn't there another bit of that Bam Chow question? Wouldn't we miss any of the devs?
Thank you. Who would you sorely miss from any of the devs if he or she left?
Sean Tracy.
Yeah.
The guy's, he's a unit. I love him.
What was
Brian
that?
Chambers. I would love Brian Chambers.
Brian
Not
Chambers.
really.
That was good. I like it. Shiver.
I have curly hair.
Shiver, besides Melissa Estrada, who?
I've missed my friend, and I don't want to embarrass her by saying her name, but I'm sure she knows who she is. Don't you go. Don't you fucking go. I'll be sad. You do some fucking amazing work. And I buy you toast anytime.
I'm going to say Tony Zurevich. I love Tony Zurevich. And you can now that mining's in, you can see he told us what mining was going to be like 2 years ago, and that's exactly what mining is. They didn't change it. It's just, it's like, it's just as complex as he laid out, and I love that. And I can't wait to mine with the Orion, because what he laid out with Orion's mining sounds amazing. All
right, everybody, we need to sort the mine material. We need aluminum over here. We need Aurora parts to go over here. Accidentally got inside. Yes,
we accidentally ate an Aurora with the giant crusher in the front.
I can imagine that. We're just accidentally going to have Bob drift into the mine. Oops, you got a little too close. Well, change the label to extra chunky and slap it and charge 54 cents.
Oh, that's awesome.
Other news, by the way.
One more question from Sorry. Says, do you have any thoughts on how shipboarding will work, knowing that docking colors and attaching ships in combat isn't a thing anymore? I mean, you're never really going to be attaching them in combat, like in active combat. You'd be disabling the ship and then, attacking, and then attaching to the ship. I think in the short term, it'll be you will disable a ship and then EVA over to it and attack it. In the longer term, I think they'll still get docking to work. What do you guys think?
I just talked about a tactic where you just be somewhere in space, and then you hit the window like a bug, and then you crawl up to the door and just join.
Perfect.
Well, I would imagine that there would be preset points that are weaker on. It's already got oh bollocks! Why is my mind gone to scrambled eggs? Oh shit!
The constellation airlocks. There you go.
Yeah, you've got those airlocks on there. You might be able to hack so they can open and you can get in that way, or place explosives on there. But yeah, you would need the ship to be disabled already and stationary, or whatever to hack in.
They threw out the idea of just burning a hole through the hull, and entering the ship that way. That idea was out. That was combat docking with the Cutlass. The Cutlass had that docking ring, so it can clamp onto a ship, and you can burn through the ship and then climb in through it. They threw that out. Docking ships together, they said, is going to be real difficult because of how the physics grid orientates the ships. Like, you have to basically walk off one ship into the other. And they said that's kind of creating some problems for them. The solution for that is way down the line, but they said ship-to-station docking for like an Idris or larger ships is still going to be a thing. You're going to be able to pull up next to with the new truck stops. You're going to be able to pull up next to them in your Idris, and you're going to have a port to your Idris, and you can walk into the station. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I think
boarding is pretty much going to be EVA right now.
For now, yeah. I think long term they'll get it, but it'll be a while. One last question. The back section of the Reclaimer doesn't seem to open. Do you think it will open in the future, or will all things need to be emptied via the elevator?
I think it'll open. Like I'm looking at the back end of that thing, and there looks like a lot of complex mechanisms that could be there. It could open up and just for unloading and loading purposes.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll open. And it's probably it's a huge section. It probably doesn't have the animation working yet.
Well, yeah, the claw doesn't work, and you can't really get because the claw's in the way. You can't get anything into the grinder, and then the top airlock doesn't work either. So there's still a lot of animation that needs to get fixed on that thing. All
right, folks. That's it for this week on Relay Station. Hope you had fun. And I'm just gonna wrap up here quickly. Heremus, where can we find you? Where can people find you? What do you do?
Me? I do bar seasons in Stockholm, Sweden. So if you want to join, come on our Discord. I have the link just now. Sorry. Anyway, come to Bar Seasons. We announce it on Twitter. You can find it on the Bar Seasons I believe. So otherwise, you'll find me on Relay. I'm there constantly. And yeah.
And Shiver?
I've got Dead Air on the bass. Also, this coming Friday is Faux Friday Night Show. Fastcart wants to do another giveaway. It's going to be chaotic as sin, so I think you have to join the bass Discord to enter. But yeah, tune in for that. It'll be fun. And otherwise than that, I'm here.
And Vertigo.
You can find me at twitch.tv/HCVertigo. Ignore the name over here. It's a little bit backwards, but whatever.
Sorry about that.
It's fine. It's like the Discord name is all messed up. I forgot to. I kept meaning to change it. I forgot. That's my mistake. But yeah, like I'm streaming pretty much Sunday through Fridays now. Early morning stream, 7 a.m. Seattle, Los Angeles time to noon, and then we take a short break, and then we're back up at 3 p.m. to about 9. So pretty much always going on Twitch.
Awesome. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great weekend. And also, for any Canadians out there, happy Canada Day.